Trin and I were literally like reminiscing last camp about how freaking funny it is because we were like this big and we have so many photos together. Like I can vividly remember times where we're like in Germany, like in the middle of nowhere, have nothing to do, and we're just like rallying the team together to like all do a dance and like show them a dance we made. Like it was so embarrassing, like looking back now, but like back then it was so funny. And like you would do the craziest things to like have fun at camp because you're in the middle of nowhere in Germany, like chasing a dream.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Friendlies. I am so happy to be here today with one of the newest faces of the U.S. Women's National Team and one of the stars of the absolutely electric Kansas City Current, where she set a record for fastest goal ever scored in the NWSL in 2023. It's Michelle Cooper. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to chat with you. I have been dying to talk to you since your big debut with the national team this February. It honestly didn't even feel like a debut because from the moment you took the field, you just looked like you'd been in that uniform before. You were playing in like really dynamic ways. You were creating goal scoring opportunities and then, of course, capitalizing on them. In only your second game with the team, you scored the game-winning goal against Australia, which we're going to get into. But before we talk about all that, I just want to ask really quickly about the way fans are chanting your name around CPKC Stadium. Coop. It is so iconic. Do you remember the first time you heard that?
Oh my gosh. I remember the first time I heard it in CPKC Stadium because I was out for like the first like 4 or 5 games. And when I finally heard it in that stadium and like it being sold out and it being ours instead of Children's Mercy, I literally got like chills in the like alleyway waiting to go out to starting 11. It was insane.
Oh my gosh. Wait, so did it originate just the year before when you were still playing at Children's Mercy in Kansas City?
Yeah, but it wasn't as much of like a thing. And like back then also I was rookie, like wasn't really scoring goals yet, wasn't involved in the play. But then when we got to CPKC is when it like started really taking off.
Okay, so the Current fans like made it up.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so cool. Crediting the Current fans with Coop. Okay, it also like does kind of sound dangerously close to boo. Were you ever like, wait, are they booing me?
Honestly, no. Which I would like, thank
Sick.
God. Like I've never been like, oh my God, like they're booing me right now. But no, I never had a moment, thank goodness. But I know that they love me, so I love them.
Good. I love that. The fans there are incredible. All right, I want to go all the way back to the beginning. Michelle, I know you grew up in Michigan with your family. You're really close to your mom and your sister. On the show all the time, like every athlete I talk to, we're talking about how much work it takes to become an elite athlete, not just from the athlete, but from their whole family. The family's making sacrifices to help get you there. And I think that that's really clear that even now you're thinking of your career with your family in mind, kind of like you're collaborating on this all together. Can you just tell us a little bit more about your relationship with your mom and your sister?
Yeah, so my sister is almost 21. She is a year and a half younger than me, but just a year in grade school. And my mom had the two of us like literally right next to each other, and we have been inseparable. Since we were young. We played together until we were like 12 and 13. And that's when we really decided like, okay, we're both going to do the soccer thing and like stick through it and see where it gets us. She's playing D2 at Rollins College in Orlando. So whenever we go out to play Orlando, I get to see her all the time, which is nice. And my mom's a kindergarten teacher currently, and she literally loves it so much. And she gets her summers and she comes down as often as she can, which kind of works out with our season being mostly through the summer. It's super nice, but we are literally all so close and we do everything together. We have like family calls so often about like the drama in our lives and everything that we've heard and the updates of work and stuff. It's so much fun. But we're all so close.
That is so cute. How do you feel like they have contributed to your success in your soccer career?
Yeah, I say it all the time, but I literally wouldn't be where I am without my mom. I mean, my sister is like awesome too, and we've gone out to the field so often. Don't get me wrong. Like, let's go to the field and get some touches. And I'm sure without those sessions, like I wouldn't have the motivation or competitiveness that I do now. So I credit a lot of that to us butting heads on the field. But my mom, she makes things happen, and I don't understand how. Like, she would drive my sister 45 minutes to one practice and me 30 minutes to the other and somehow make it all shake and get up at 5 a.m. and go to work the next morning to teach more kids. And it was absolutely amazing. Yeah.
What a legend. I love hearing you talk about you and your sister being inseparable. Obviously, also have a
Yep.
sister. I'm the younger sister, but my sister and I didn't, we're inseparable now, except that we're, separated by a long distance, but like we're best friends now.
Yes.
But we didn't really start getting along until after college. And I think it's because like I was kind of like always really annoying to her. But what really resonates with me with what you're saying is like going out to the field with your sister and training together and working hard together. And I feel like that must have helped lead you to some early success with the youth national teams. You were playing for the US youth national teams at U16, U18, U19, U20. Looking back to some of those early squads, some of those rosters, your name isn't the only name that jumps out. You were actually a forward alongside Trinity Rodman. What do you remember about those like early youth national team days?
Oh my gosh, that's actually so funny you say that. Trin and I were literally like reminiscing last camp about how freaking funny it is because we were like this big and we have so many photos together. Like I can vividly remember times where we're like in Germany, like in the middle of nowhere, have nothing to do, and we're just like rallying the team together to like all do a dance and like show them a dance we made. Like it was so embarrassing, like looking back now, but like back then it was so funny. And like you would do the craziest things to like have fun at camp because you're in the middle of nowhere in Germany, like chasing a dream.
That takes me back. We used to go to La Manga, Spain, and like literally it was when I was in college and like on the U20s, U23s, it would take me like 4 flights to get there. So I'd travel
Yeah.
for 24 hours, sitting in middle seats, sitting in the back of the plane,
Yeah.
whatever. I'd get to La Manga, Spain, and we would just have just trainings and games and scrimmages. We'd play boys teams, we'd play other like youth teams. And like my friends from that time, like the memories we have are so vivid. Me and Carrie Riccaro would just like eat spaghetti sandwiches at lunch and dinner. And it's just like, why were we eating
Wait.
spaghetti sandwiches for lunch and dinner?
I feel like that's such a staple of like youth camp is just like strictly eat carbs. Like you're not eating anything else. It's
Literally.
just bread, just
Yeah.
pasta.
That's because like the buffet always had pasta no matter what country
Yep.
you were in, no matter what hotel you were in. Wait, can we go back? Do you have like a classic Trinity Rodman story from those early days?
Oh my gosh. Like the first thing that came to my mind, we there it was a big thing to like do the dances. Like I don't know if it was Vine, but like there were these songs that would literally be like 15-second snippets and we would like do the dances like religiously. Like we're like play the song in the locker room and like me, Trinity, and one other teammate, we would just like break down full dance for the team
Yeah.
every single time.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to have some of those vines resurface. I think that they would be really popular.
Oh jeez.
Okay, so I also remember in my like youth national team days, like day one of my first youth national team camp, U15, Crystal Dunn was there with me. And Crystal and I ended up going through so much of our national team career together. And obviously, I knew immediately that Crystal was such a special player. And our journey together through all those age groups and all those camps is so fun to think about. And so I know that you were also joined on one of your very first youth national teams by Ali Sentnor. So I was
Oh my
wondering,
gosh.
Ali Sentnor is from my hometown of Hanson, Massachusetts.
Yep.
It's literally my whole personality and all I talk about. I'm so proud of her. What are your early memories of Ali? And did you have kind of that feeling like, oh, this could be the start of a long journey for us together?
I definitely had that feeling. Yeah, I would say that. And it's funny you bring Allie up because right after we played Utah, she stayed at my apartment and we headed out to camp the next day and we were talking about like, wow, we've come such a long way, but like we haven't even really made it yet. Like it's cool to be in camp and stuff
Mm.
and like yes, to have a couple call-ins and a couple caps is like something you dream of as a child, but like we haven't even like really started. And I actually have a photo of like Allie and I, and it's like me in the background because Allie's like 2 years younger than me. It's me in the background, like 14. And Allie is like so tiny. She's
So
like just
little.
12. And I'm like,
Oh,
to look back at that and see like us playing each other now professionally and together on national team is insane. And I'm happy that we got to go through like the journey of youth camps together.
yeah. Well, I'm going to ask you more about that. I'm so excited to hear you talk more about the national team. And this brings me to my next question. You were called into Emma Hayes' Futures Camp in earlier this year, which is an idea that Emma Hayes brought back as part of her push to expand the national team's kind of pool of talent. What did you think when you heard that idea? Like, we're going to have this Futures Camp, we're going to expand the player pool. What did that mean to you as a young up and coming player?
I was really excited about that because when I was approaching the U23 cycle, I got a little bit nervous because, like, historically, it goes like if you are good enough at U20s, you'll have maybe a year or two, and then you're like on the national team, like the full team. And the U23 cycle was kind of just like every now and then you like get around and give each other high fives and you're like that's it. So when I heard Emma actually wanted to do something with the team and develop them and bridge the art like the gap between full team and the youth teams, it made me really excited. Although I am like aging out of 23s towards the end of this year, I'm really happy that this cycle is going to continue to be a thing because I think it's super important for the future of this team.
I totally agree. As a longtime U23 player, like it is an awkward time because college players are eligible, but professional players are eligible. So then, like, the timing of the camps is weird, and you know
Yeah.
some of the girls really well, but you don't know some of them. And I think that this idea of a futures camp, which is kind of less strictly age group related and more like this is the group, the crop that we have our eye on, is really, really smart and really great. So, what we know about the Futures Camp from January is when Emma called up a senior camp roster to train for She Believes, which was the following month. She called in this other group of players who she thought had the potential to be on the senior roster soon. I'm so curious what Futures Camp was like. Like, my only, vision of this is a U23 camp, but were you practicing right alongside the full team? Did you have an idea of like, was Emma running your training? Were people being pulled out? Can you tell us like how Futures Camp felt?
Yeah, it was super awesome. I mean, got treated like we were part of the full team and we had meetings like they had meetings. We literally had a copy paste schedule as to what they did. Emma did run our trainings, which was super nice to be able to have that inkling of like how she is as a coach and the rest of the staff as well. She did run our trainings. We would go right after the full team. So sometimes we would catch the end of their trainings and sometimes we would run into them and say hi. But it was literally copy paste the exact same as the full team camp, which was
Wow.
super awesome.
That's really, really interesting. Did you feel okay? So I like literally can't stop talking about my own memories. I
That's okay.
remember like sometimes somebody would kind of get like pulled over. Like if the full team needed like an outside back, like the best outside back from camp would like get to go train with them. Did that ever happen?
No, we didn't get any pulling over.
No pulling over. Did you
No.
feel like you had a good camp? Like were you like I stood out at this camp and like maybe somebody noticed?
No. I literally thought I had the worst camp
Shut up.
ever. I'm not kidding. I walked out of there and I'm like, like it's okay. It's preseason. Like you'll be okay, Michelle. I literally walked out of there and told myself, like, it's preseason. Like, you're not in shape yet. Like, everything's going to be fine. Like, that's literally how I left. Like, I called my mom and my sister. I'm like, guys, like, I think I blew it. Like, I know this isn't the end, but like, I had a really good opportunity to do something good and I didn't.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
So two things. What do you think somebody saw in you to then call you into She Believes?
I don't know. Like, I want to say things, but then I'm like, is that really what she saw? Like, I don't know. I personally think I had a pretty good showing towards the end of last season, and that kind of like helped me recover from like, not like I didn't do horrible in January, but I didn't do what I wanted to do, if that makes sense. Like, I had an expectation and I had a goal for myself, but I don't think I reached that at all. So the fact that Emma saw something in me still and called me into She Believes, like, literally blew my mind because I was walking around camp and like all you could tell everyone was super nervous and we had like of course some college girls and like some pro girls and everyone was like so nervous couldn't complete a pass like for the first two
Oh
days
yeah, I know.
and I'm walking around I'm like telling myself like no one's gonna make She Believes like it's fine just roll with the punches take a deep breath and then a month later there I was on She Believes and my mind was blown.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I imagine you were kind of surprised to get the call in. How did you react?
Well, it's funny because I got the email that was like, "Oh, you're on preliminary." I was like, "Cool, like nice, not gonna freak out or anything, like just
Which
keeping
is
it
just
cool."
basically like a preliminary roster goes out with more people than will actually get named to the roster. So you're like, okay, I'm on the radar, but I'm not on the roster yet. So we'll
Exactly.
see.
Like
Okay.
cool to know you guys are looking at me, but like I didn't exactly make it yet. And we landed from, where did we land from? Preseason trip to Bradenton, Florida. And my GM came up to me and she's like, "Did you get an email today?" And I was like, "No, like, I don't know what you're talking about." And she's like, "Well, you're going to She Believes." And I was like, "What?" What? I literally start like bawling in the airport. And like, Vlatko and the coaching staff like come up behind me and they're like, "Congrats, Michelle. Like, you deserve it." Like, they already knew what I was crying about. And my teammates were like, "Are you okay?" And you're not supposed to tell anyone until the roster comes out. "Are you okay? Are you
Yeah.
okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine, guys. Like, everything's okay. Like, I'll be
Oh.
okay." And it was so cute.
Did they like think something was wrong?
Yeah, they were like, "Is something wrong?" Like, and then you could see them like all like gossiping in a circle, like, "Michelle's crying. Like, is she okay? Does anyone know what's going on?" Little do they know, it's like the happiest moment of my life.
I know. Well, so do you have a memory from when your teammates found out? Were they so happy for you?
Yeah, so Claire Hutton also started crying because our GM also told
Oh
her.
my God,
She's like,
bless.
"Michelle, we're going together. Like, I'm so happy we get to have this together." We're both crying and we're hugging each other. And then someone like put two and two together and they were like, "You can't tell anyone." So they literally found out and we all had like a big group hug and it was super cute. And they were like,
Oh
"Why didn't
my
you just tell us?" I'm like,
gosh.
"I'm not supposed to. So blame it on her, not on me." I didn't tell you guys she
Oh,
did.
what a really sweet moment. I hope that that is like also the start of another long national team journey for you and Claire together.
I know. I know. She deserves it so much. I would love nothing more.
Oh my God, I like love Claire. I really hope we can have her on this show. You debuted in the US's game against Colombia at She Believes, which was in Houston, and I now I want to know if the fans there knew about your Coop nickname.
There was like a couple in there.
There was a
And because
couple in there.
Houston isn't that far from Kansas City, so I think a
Yeah.
couple people made the trip out, which
So
like
did you hear
I
it?
love. That made me happy. Yeah, I did hear it. And I was like, "Okay, I feel at home a little bit."
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, well, in your second cap, you really started to feel at home. You scored the winning goal thanks to an assist from
I
your
did.
U16 teammate, Ali Sentnor. I'm going to bring up my memory of Crystal Dunn again. The person who I was at that very first camp with assisted my first national team goal.
Really?
Yeah. And I
Look
ran
at that.
straight over to her. I feel like was just so comfortable with Crystal. She knows how to set me up for success. And then in all of your post game interviews about your first goal, it seemed like you actually talked about Allie and like talked about your history of playing together. It was such a special moment. What did that feel like for you to share that moment with Ali Sentnor?
I was so happy. Like, I couldn't have written it up any other way. Well, I mean, I did feel bad because I was like, "Oh my God, did I just steal this from you?" And she was like, "No, I'm so happy for you. Like, you needed to do that." And I was like,
She's so
"Okay,
sweet.
thank you." Yeah, I know. I was like, "Thank you. I didn't mean to like steal it from you in a way." She's like, "No, like, celebrate it. I'm so happy that it got to be me." Like, so yeah, we talked about it a lot and we giggle about it every now and then. Like, what? You couldn't have written it any better.
Yeah, I know. Do you think that those kinds of relationships with these players you've played with a lot throughout your youth career have they carried forward on the field, do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think it makes it easier. I mean, to come into an environment like the national team and to be able to have a couple of connections already makes you feel, or makes me feel at least, a lot more comfortable to be myself on the field and off the field, connect passes, understand their movements and what they're going to do. And I think the connections definitely carried on from a couple years ago.
I mean, I think so too. I also I found it so interesting like just because I understand it so well, the competitiveness of like, well, could Allie have had that goal and you had the goal and you felt like, did I steal it? And she was so gracious about it. But I think that while your national team teammates are your support system and they're really the only people who like understand what it's like to go through the ups and downs and the kind of stress and the lifestyle, they're also your competition. And like the
Yeah.
other forwards on the national team are so world class. And so I wanted to ask you like, obviously you're competing against people and with people that you want success for. And that's what makes this team so good. How do you balance that intense competition with friendship at the same time?
Honestly, when I went to my first camp, we talked about Emily Sonnet because we celebrated her 100th cap. And we talked about how she's just a one of a kind teammate. And she's like, "I haven't always been the person to start on the field and be on the field all the time." And I think that really hit home. Like, being able to be part of something so great. Like, I am so grateful knowing that maybe I don't start this game, maybe I don't play a single minute of the game at camp, but knowing that I was in training, I helped these girls prepare. I am still here and I'm still important. I think that is the mentality that I approach it with. Of course, when I'm in club, I'm like, go, 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 prove myself, be my best person, both on and off the field, and be super competitive. And it's the same in camp, but I changed my mentality more to like, you're here. How can you be the best in whatever role you need to play?
That's incredible. I love that Sonnet has been kind of part of that example for you. I think my last question about the national team is really this group that has come together feels new to us, but obviously, as we've mentioned, you've been playing with these women for years. What would you say to fans who are a little bit nervous about the change and a little bit like we have this big project ahead until 2027? What do we need to know about this new generation of players?
I would say that change is inevitable. It was going to happen. Turnovers are going to happen. Players are going to change. But I hope that they keep supporting us and keep lifting us up because we do have another 2 years to prepare and we have plenty of time and to trust that the connections are going to fall into place.
Great. I love that. I love the confidence. I love the answer. I believe in
Thank
you guys
you.
so much. Okay, let's talk about record setting, stadium building, Kansas City Current. You were drafted second to the Current. So it's not like this was back when the draft was still going on. So it's not like you chose to go there. But it seems like the team made it really clear that they had a vision for you and that you were someone they wanted to grow the team around. Talk to us about your early days in Kansas City. How was the transition from college soccer at Duke to the NWSL for you?
I think it was tough. I mean, my first year, I came from Duke playing as a center forward, as a nine. And when I got to the league, I started playing outside forward. And I think that in itself, like, if I just changed in college, that's a struggle. Like, changing positionally is a struggle. And then doing it at this level, it like doubled down on the struggle. So my first year was like really tough. And I think it was kind of just like rolling with the punches for me, like, trying to figure out what the league is about and how I can make an impact and understanding players and understanding the team. And then as the years went on, I feel like my feet have sunk in and I've gotten more roots here and I've better understood my position and what I need to do to be successful with this team.
Going back to what you said about changing positions from college to pros, what was the hardest thing to adjust to in terms of like the level jumping up to the NWSL? What did you struggle with the most that first year?
I personally used to see myself as like a hold up player. I mean, I'm only 5'3". I'm like really tiny. But when I was in college, I was like, I can hold the ball up pretty well and like spin girls. And I'm like, that's what I'm good at. So then when I got to the league and then they were like, you're going to play outside forward, I was like, I am not one to just go 1v1 at players.
Yeah,
Like,
it was they were asking you to have a different profile than you were
yeah,
used to.
yeah. And everyone was so confident in me. Like, that is who you are. That is what you can do. And I had the biggest like imposter syndrome. Like, I can't do this, guys. I don't know who you think I am.
Who am
That's
I?
literally, yeah, like, who am I now? I'm having an identity crisis in my my first year in the league. But no, I think that was the hardest thing for me. I saw myself as one type of player and they wanted me to completely change and be another. And I had it in me. It just took a while to come out, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, well, clearly. I think what's also so interesting, obviously Kansas City are off to an incredible start this season, but in your first season, 2023, the team came in 11th out of
Yeah.
12. What kind of changes were made in that 2023 to 2024 off season that you think helped the Current rebound so incredibly?
I think our biggest issue or struggle that we had my first year was that we were lacking a coach and we kind of were just like going with the vibes. I would say we didn't necessarily have an identity. We didn't know who we wanted to be. We knew we had good players and we had the people and the determination and the competitiveness to do it, but we didn't know who we were. We didn't know what we wanted to be. And I think between the 23 and the 24 season, we did exactly that. We got a coaching staff, which really helped. And then Vlatko came in and said, this is who we're going to be. And we're going to keep players who are going to do this. And we're going to bring in players who want to help us do this. And we're going to chase a trophy. But we're going to start by figuring out who we are.
I'm so interested in this. Just for some context for anybody listening, Kansas City hired Vlatko Andonovski after the 2023 season, who was the coach of the NWSL's FC Kansas City previously, the Reign, and then also the US Women's National Team in 2023. There was so much talk about the national team's performance in 2023, but my kind of impression of Vlatko going to Kansas City was that Vlatko still has this aura of like he's coached the national team. He's like a really elite coach, regardless of the team's performance at that World Cup. Did you view getting to play for him as like a huge opportunity? And how did he kind of bring out this new energy from the team?
Yeah, I think everyone was super excited to be able to get to know him as a coach because, of course, you have the outside opinions of people, and then you have his previous years in the league. But I think everyone was excited. I mean, a couple girls played for him, like Desiree Scott was still there. She played for him. Lola Bonta played for him too. So they had familiarity already. And I think everyone else was just excited to finally be a part of what he's done in the league. And I think he knew he wanted to come back from his national team stint, and
Yeah.
we knew we wanted to come back from our stint the prior year. So I think the two meshed together.
Yeah.
Determination, both staff and players, really helped us continue game in and game out to win and be the best that we could.
I feel like that makes so much sense. There's such an interesting like alignment of kind of a comeback story there for
Yeah,
both the
yeah,
club, who had, I mean, the club previously had been through so much, but even just being like, we have been seen as this thing, but we want to be seen as this great thing. And I think that to align that with the kind of narrative that was going on around Vlatko at the time feels really interesting, and like it obviously has had this incredible effect. 2024 was also the year that the stadium was built, CPKC Stadium, the first stadium specifically built for women's soccer. The Current then became the first NWSL team to sell out every home match. The stadium's incredible. I always keep being like, yes, it's loud, it's beautiful, but the food is also good and your
yeah.
team is good. So the stadium is just like, it's such a win-win. It's so fun to be there. I also wonder, Michelle, I feel like you're young enough to have maybe been able to imagine growing up and playing in a stadium like that. Whereas I think for the generation older than you, that felt like crazy and like so out there. Can you describe to us what it feels like to play there and to even like score a goal there?
Yeah, it's surreal. Being able to both play at Children's Mercy before we moved into CPKC and score at Children's Mercy in contrast to where we are now, it was awesome at Sporting. Don't get me wrong, it was cool at Children's Mercy, but being able to do those things in a stadium of your own where people come out just for you, not because it's a Saturday night and there's nothing else to do, like they come to support you, it feels absolutely surreal, and it's a feeling I can't describe. And I think a lot of girls on other teams are, I wouldn't say like they are jealous, but it's a thing where it's like, oh my God, we have to go play there. Like their fans are so
Mm.
loud, their fans are so passionate about the little things, every tackle, every throw in, a corner kick, like they go berserk about the craziest stuff. And they're literally our 12th man on the field.
Ah, that's awesome. Is there also maybe kind of like an added pressure, like, oh, they have their own stadium, like they better be good?
Kind of. I don't know. I wouldn't say I ever go into a game where there's like added pressure. If anything, I go into a game so relaxed where I'm like, "Oh my God, it's a game." Like get anxious, like get nervous, get ready because I'm like I know we're going to go out there and literally the first half, the 90 minutes, we're going to give it literally everything we have. And our fans are going to have our back. And even if we're not playing well, they're still going to be screaming for us. They're still going to be cheering for us. And that gives us an extra push.
That's so incredible. I'm like so happy for
Yeah.
you guys. I think there's also this component of like, even if you guys, which has very rarely happened that I've ever seen, weren't playing your best, you have so many threats that like a team could maybe shut down somebody, but they can't shut down everybody. You guys have Dabinia, record-setting Temwa Schwinga, Lo Labonta, you. How do you think you all are working together to contribute to the Current's attack?
Yeah, I think one thing we knew after last year was Temwa Chawinga is going to be on everyone's radar. So
Yeah.
going into this year, we knew the rest of us on the field had to step it up, had to bring some game and be able to do great things because Temwa really blew the league away last year. And knowing that, I think you've seen it this year. Everyone is running on all circles. We are constantly going. We are executing to the best of our ability. Lo has had, I think, 3 PKs already this year. Bia's coming back from injury and she's playing so well. And I think it's just people know that Temua's going to be a target, so the rest of us need to step up. And when people are worried about the rest of us, it's Temua's time, and it's going to keep teetering back and forth the whole season.
As it should with a good team. I love hearing that. You mentioned Lo Labonta. We just had her join us on an alt cast for the U.S. Women's National Team game. We love Lo. And I only have 2 more very easy questions for you, Michelle. Lo's scoring celebrations. Yeah. I think we just want to know how much they are rehearsed. Are you going over them at training? Is it in the group text? Is it in the locker room? Like, what's like the phases of a celebration?
Okay, so she has, I think, at least 4 celebrations that are like in the back of her pocket right now. I can think of at least 2. She's been like saying, I'm going to do this for at least 6 months by now. Like, it's been a while. So they're like pretty on deck. I'm not going to lie. But sometimes she like goes into games and she's like, I don't want to do that one today. Like, I need something else. Like the one where she like hiked up her shorts and like ran to the corner. She was like, I don't know what to do today. Like, if I score, I'm like, just rip your shorts up and like run to the corner.
So that was Coop inspired.
That was Coop inspired. Yes.
Love it. Love it.
Like, just hike your shorts up and run to the corner. Like, people are going to love it. So she sometimes has like them on lock. And sometimes the ones she has on lock are more like multiple people celebrations. Yeah. Like, I can think of like 2 to 3 people celebrations where she's like, I have to wait because they need to be on the field at this specific moment. And she has quite a few, but sometimes it can take up to like a month where she's like, I've thought about this for a while. Or it can be like, today's the day, I'm just going to do this randomly.
Oh my gosh. The confidence, the bravery, the execution.
The bravery.
I honestly do really think it's like, I mean, also Lo has had an incredible career. She is scoring goals for the Current. She's backing it up. But it is such like entertainment value. Like, it's so great for the league. It's so great to watch somebody doing that on TV and then watching the highlights. So I'm like a huge fan of it. All right, Michelle, we're going to wrap up. We just have one last non-soccer related question. I just feel like I want to make sure our listeners get to know you a little bit off the field. So I'm going to ask you about like a low stakes off field goal that you have for yourself. So for example, I'm like growing some vegetables in the garden this summer and I just want to grow some vegetables, low stakes, I don't have to be overly ambitious. It's just like a very like healthy, nice hobby. Do you have a non-soccer related low stakes goal?
I would love to teach my dog how to speak.
Great.
That would be awesome. But something that I'm actively working towards would be to finish the Throne of Glass series. I'm reading it currently. So,
oh my gosh.
Big reader.
Great. Big reader. Okay, I haven't read Throne of Glass, but I've read the other ones.
A Court of Thorns and Roses?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Throne of Glass will get added to my list?
Yes, it should. Okay. I've heard it's much better.
Okay. Well, then it's definitely on my list. All right. So we're going to teach the dog to speak. Can you just tell us really quickly a little bit about your puppy when I asked you about it before we weren't recording?
Yeah. His name's Moody, Moodie. He's a German Shepherd Pit Bull mix. He looks like a Rottweiler, though, like a skinny German Shepherd built Rottweiler. And he's like a year and like a couple months. He's literally the best. He's a little baby, though. He's like terrified of people, like terrified. Like,
Moody.
Yeah, like if I have him on leash, and a lot of people will walk by and they'll be like, is it okay if I like go by? I'm like, yeah, he might run the other way though. Like, he's like terrified of people.
Yeah, like he's not gonna bite you, he's gonna hide.
No, yeah, they get scared. I'm like, he's not gonna bite you, he's gonna do the opposite. He's gonna run away.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I hope I hope you can teach him to speak and he can just find his confidence and his fearlessness.
Fingers crossed.
Okay, Michelle, Coop, if I can call you Coop.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. This was so much fun. I feel like I know you better. And I'm so excited to watch you with Kansas City and more to come with the national team, I'm sure.
Thank you. Thank you. It was so much fun.
It was so great. Thanks, Michelle. Thank you all so much for listening. Hearing from these national team players about how they've kind of been training for this all their lives really brings me back to my own youth national team days. I love chatting with Michelle, and I feel like we got to share so many things that we have in common. So I'm really rooting for her and excited to see how she continues to bring her best to both the national team and the Current. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. TWG is growing, and when you share our content, it really helps us. Also, check out our social media this weekend for all the coverage of the NWSL and the WSL, Where Women's Game MIB across social media. Thank you all so much for being here, and we'll see you soon.